All right, here we go. A little bit more. Page 170. It's called Help Us. The stone wall separating Gorilla World and Elephant Odyssey is gone. Pieces of both domains mingle. An elephant toy here, a gorilla nest there, part of the indoor gorilla space has crumbled to the ground. I scan the area where Ruby and her herd like to hang out. Nothing. No gorillas either. Out of nowhere, the rain picks up, coming sideways, blinding me. The wind howls like a hurt dog. The storm isn't over. Not by a long shot. I leap over a pile of cement blocks, catch my hurt foot on something sharp, yelp, keep going. Ivan! I call. Ruby! Nothing. I get to a slight rise, leap onto another overturned tree, and try to make sense of the damage. Red and blue lights cut through the rain. Police, fire engines. Good. We need all the help we can get. I take in several lungfuls of the hideous air. It's too wet and too full of conflicting odors. A mismatch of scents I can't decipher, especially with my busted nose. The wind gathers speed, pushing at me with incredible force. Feels like it'll tear my ears right off my sore noggin. I can barely stay upright. Wind like that, storm wind, doesn't carry scent. It obliterates it. Help! Help us! It's a tiny, desperate voice. Maybe even Ruby's voice. This one's called Kudzu. I pick my way through the debris, trying to lock on the sound. It ain't easy. Help! Please help us! Climbing over the remains of the wall, the one I was sitting on what seems like moments ago, I find myself at the bank of the moat. Ruby? I call at the top of my lungs. Uncle Bob! The sound of my name cuts through the gloom like a shaft of sun. Ruby runs to the opposite edge of the water. She's maybe 8 feet away, but I can barely make her out in the torrential rain. You stay there, I yell, trying to be heard over the wind. I'll come to you. I follow the bank until I come to a spot where several chunks of wall have tumbled into the water. 3 careful leaps, and I'm across. Here's the picture. Ruby runs to greet me. She wraps her mud-coated trunk around my neck, and boy, oh boy, am I happy to see that sweet little elephant. You hurt, Ruby? I ask. Is everyone all right? Ruby sniffles. Yes, but come quick. She dashes off before I can ask anything more. 5 of Ruby's aunts stand by the elephant side of the moat. Each one has her trunk plunged deep in the dark, muddy water. They look like a bunch of kids trying to find a lost toy in a swimming pool. It's almost funny until I see what they're reaching for. A baby gorilla is in the moat. The tiny gal keeps grabbing for a trunk to hold on to and then slipping free. Her terrified screeches fill the air. It's Kudzu, Ivan's favorite. An idea. I'm going in, says Masika, one of the younger aunts. Might make things worse, Akello cautions. Displace the mud, pull her down toward the bottom. I could go in, I suggest, the words popping out before I can swallow them. It's more mud than water, Bob. Akello shakes her head. You'll get as stuck as Kudzu. I don't exactly argue the point. I've got an idea, comes a small voice. All the aunties turn to Ruby, and she looks startled to have their complete attention. A couple of us get on the other side of the moat, Ruby says. Grab trunks. We'll make like a what do you call it? A sling, I exclaim. A hammock, like the gorillas have. I don't know, Ruby. Akello sounds doubtful. Kudzu grabs for Masika's trunk with both hands. Wait, Masika says. Think I've got her this time. Masika lifts her trunk with deliberate slowness, carefully trying to support the baby gorilla, but once again, Kudzu can't hold on. She lets out a despairing cry. Down she goes, lower this time, her nose and eyes just visible. Okay, Akello says with a nod at Ruby. Let's give Ruby's idea a try. Masika, Laheli, Elodie, cross over to the far side. Zaina, Ruby, and I will take this side. All three elephants move with surprising quickness to the spot where I crossed. They gallop back until they're facing us. It's strange to see them on the other side of the moat. With the wall destroyed, they're technically in Ivan and Kenyaya's domain. Move down a bit, Akello instructs. That way, she motions with her head. We want to scoop her out, not push her down. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. The elephants reach out for each other's trunks, creating a kind of cradle. Okay now, says Akello. Lower carefully. Down they go into the muddy water. Ruby nearly loses her footing, so I grab her tail with my teeth. It doesn't really help, and she yelps, ouch! But my heart is in the right place. Kudzu thrashes her tiny arms. Stay calm, I call, easy for me to say. She looks over to me, and I'll never forget the fear in her dark eyes. Then she vanishes below the surface. Team Elephant, this one's called. Hurry! Ruby cries. The elephants bend lower, moving like a giant elephant shovel. Where is she? Masika asks. Lower, says Akello. Lower, sisters. There, Ruby yells. No, wait, there. Up, Akello commands, and the interlocking trunks rise from the muddy water to reveal a tiny, trembling baby gorilla sitting in their makeshift sling. Kudzo, says Akello, stay calm, baby. We're going to toss you to safety, okay? Kudzo gives a little nod. On my count, says Akello, start swinging. 1, 2, 3. Up and over go the trunks, and up and over goes Kudzu. She lands with a little plop on the gorilla's side of the moat, right next to Masika's rear legs. Good work, everyone, says Akello, and good thinking, Ruby. Thanks, elephant, says Kudzu, wiping mud from her eyes. That was fun. Can we do it again? Akello takes a deep breath. Maybe later, sweetheart. Quickly, I make my way back over the moat. Kudzu, I say, follow me. Let's go find your ape peeps. Can I go with Bob? Ruby asks Akello. Akello touches Ruby's back with her trunk. I'd much rather you stay here, dear. And it's may I. But Uncle Ivan, Ruby pleads. I'll keep an eye on her, I tell Akello. I'm going, Ruby says in her most determined voice. Maybe I can help. I helped just now. Akello hesitates, but finally gives a slow nod. Probably, she figures, there's no arguing with Ruby. She's right on that one. Ruby crosses the moat and joins Kudzu and me. Be careful, Akello warns. There's more of this storm coming. I got her, Akello, I say. You'd better have her, she warns. I think I flew, Bob, said Kudzu as we weave our way through the wasteland that was Gorilla World. Yeah, me too, I say. It's that kind of day. This one's called What's Out There? A handful of humans, firefighters and police mostly, have begun to roam the grounds, checking out the damage. We pass a park employee with a weapon slung over his shoulder and a net in one hand. Trank gun, he tells the passing police officer. We know what's out there. We don't know what's out there. She nods. How fast do they work? On something like a big cat? He shakes his head. Not fast enough. I look over at Ruby. Stay close, kid. As we near the gorilla villa, what's left of it anyways, a screech hits my ears that makes the wailing police sirens sound like mewing kittens. It's Kenyaya. She's frantically knuckle running back and forth near the collapsed gorilla villa. Chunks of cement, shredded wooden beams, and bent metal lie everywhere. A cluster of gorilla females and juveniles huddle not far from some rescue workers. There's Mama! Kudzu cries, dashing toward a gorilla named Jody. I'm so horrified by the destruction that I've almost forgotten my muddy little charge. I really shouldn't be trusted as an ape sitter. Kudzu darts over to her mother's waiting embrace. Jody nuzzles her and strokes her and says soothing, motherly gorilla things. Thank you, Jody mouths to me. Don't thank me, I say, looking over at Ruby. Thank this little gal. She figured out how to save Kudzu. Thank you. Ruby, isn't it? Ivan's friend? Ruby gives a shy nod. Well, we all helped. I provided moral support, I add. I flew, Mama, says Kudzu. Of course you did, dear, says Jody. Kenyaya's fresh wails focus my mind. I gotta go, I say. Ruby, you should stay here. I'm going for a no-nonsense voice, the one Julia uses on me when she calls me Robert. Let me see what's what. I'll be right back. No way, Uncle Bob, Ruby replies just as firmly. I give up, but I'm afraid of what she might see, of what we both might see. Any sign of Ivan? I ask Jody. She shakes her head, a grim look clouding her eyes. With Ruby by my side, we approach the pile of wreckage that used to be the gorilla villa. At the same moment, Ruby and I gasp. There's Ivan's hand barely peeking through the rubble. This one's called Not Moving. I know that hand like the back of my own paw. No, Ruby screams, Uncle Ivan! I check the crowd. No sign of Julia or George. Nothing. No Maya either, or other keepers I recognize. Just a few employees, several rescue workers, and 2 or 3 dazed-looking visitors. Is he alive? A firefighter asks. Hand, whatever it's called, isn't moving, says another. Weaving my way through the tangle of legs, I climb up the rubble pile, sniff a bit, and bark my loudest. Yes, he's alive. Get your rears in gear, bark. Just like those overachieving rescue dogs in the Man's Best Friend show. I listen for a sound from Ivan, a grunt, a cry for help. Nothing. Still, he smells alive. At least I think he does, and that's good enough for me. This one's called Xena. Another dog races over, a tough-looking German shepherd wearing an impressive glow-in-the-dark vest and some booty things to protect her feet from the rubble, but I hold my ground. This is my friend we're talking about. I lick Ivan's hand. His fingers twitch. Well, that's all it takes to get both of us barking like maniacs. More people gather. I see Maya next to Ruby, which makes me feel better. Name's Xena, says the shepherd. Bob. I nudge Ivan's fingers with my nose. Nothing. And this is Ivan, my best bud. Sorry to hear it, she replies, and I don't like the sound of her voice. With great care and far too slowly for my taste, rescue workers begin removing chunks of the wreckage and tossing them to one side. Xena and we mostly stay out of the way, but every so often I lick Ivan's hand just so he knows we've got him covered. I glance over at Maya and Ruby. Maya is wiping tears from her eyes while she strokes Ruby's ears. Ruby is giving Maya a comforting trunk hug. Good old Ruby, wise beyond her years, that gal. I check the crowd again. Still no sign of Julia or George, and that's when a sickening thought hits me like a bite on the belly. What if Ivan isn't the only one under the rubble? Oh, we're going to have to pause there. Check back next time.